Okay, so Arpna, take me back, what must be about 15 months now. What were the series of trigger moments that led to you kickstarting your journey with us at RNT?
Yeah, so there were a few different things. So first of all, I mean, I've never been an overweight person. I've always sort of been quite fit and healthy. I did gain weight after having both my children, but I managed to sort of calorie count and exercise and take the weight down. So yeah, I've always been quite good in that sense in terms of weight. But about sort of 7 years ago, I lost my uncle to a brain tumor. So he was quite young, like not yet 50. And I kind of went into this sort of mindset of, oh, life's too short. You should enjoy what you want, eat what you want, drink what you want, just relax and not worry about anything. So that kind of led to a little bit of weight gain. And then COVID happened as well. So, it was that sort of time where everyone's at home experimenting with cooking, relaxing with the drinks. So that was sort of another thing that kind of led to a bit of weight gain. And then also my eldest son, I always knew he was autistic, but we didn't have an official diagnosis because his traits weren't that sort of severe. So it was a little bit unknown. We needed to give it time, wait till he's a bit older, and then sort of get him tested. So I knew the diagnosis was imminent. And I just thought, I've, gained weight, not feeling great about myself. So I really need to get a grip, get in a better headspace so I can be there for him and my younger son. And then I thought, right, I need to do something about this, lose some weight, get fit, get healthy. And that's when I called you.
Yeah, I remember it was a Monday, and I think it might be the Monday, the 8th, or I think it was the 8th or the 15th. It was a Monday. Yeah, I know it was a Monday in July. And I was taking calls that month. So I had a couple of people on holiday, and it just happened to be that way. And I think you must have booked your call at like 8 a.m. And I think we were speaking at 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And you were just ready. You were just ready to go.
Yeah.
What was the build up to that moment of just being like, right, I'm just ready?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've always been quite fit and healthy. And I just thought, none of my clothes fit me. I'm not feeling great about myself. I know this report with the diagnosis is coming. I know what it's going to be. And I just need to make a change and feel good about myself. So I think when you feel good about yourself, then everything else just kind of falls into place. And I just wanted to feel just in a better headspace. And I knew that if I lost weight and felt healthier, that in turn would make me feel like I was in a better headspace. So I'd been following RNT over the years. So I knew I always had it there on the back burner that, this might be something I'd like to do one day. But, looking at those transformations, it looked quite dramatic from like the overweight person to having a six pack. So I thought, I don't know if I can do that. And, is this real? I mean, how intense is it in terms of the training? I mean, how low would my calories go? So I was worried about how restrictive it would be, because although I've calorie counted over the years, I've still sort of had what I wanted to have, but within a certain calorie range. So then I just sort of decided, actually, I'm not really looking to just lose weight. I want to make a lifestyle change. So I want to actually sort of, make a long-term change, because I know I can get the weight off through calorie counting and exercising. But I really wanted to sort of learn a bit more about the nutrition and just make it more of a mindset shift for the long term and not just for that, few months. Because I was yo-yoing a lot over the past 5 years. It was a struggle to actually keep it down. And that's when I sort of got in touch with you and just thought, actually, this sounds really good. And I'm going to give it a go, because I know I like exercising anyway, so I'll probably manage with that. And I'm used to sort of making food plans, so I'm sure I can cope with that aspect as well. And then we had the chat, and then sort of you kind of answered all the questions. So I just thought, actually, no, I think this will work. And also, I mean, I quite like to research things a lot before I do them. So I actually spoke to one of the RNTs, Manisha, on the phone.
Yes.
I just had a chat with her, and she gave me some useful information. And after talking to her and hearing about her journey, I thought, actually, I think this is something that's doable. So,
How did you know? Do you know her? Or?
No, I was just. I think I might have watched maybe her podcast at the time. Maybe that was out around that time. And I just thought, I need to speak to somebody that's done this before. This is before I'd actually reached out to you. And then I spoke to her and I thought, actually, we had a really good chat and it was really informative. And then you and I spoke.
Amazing.
And yeah, I got a really good feel for the company. I just thought, actually, no, I think this is the one. This is going to be the actual change that I'm going to make. And because it's not just the diet or the exercise, it's the whole curriculum and everything else that comes with it.
But walk me through the difference between looking at RNT for years and thinking, it's not me, it's not real, it's too big of a change, all those sorts of the narrative there to then doing it. What changes in your perception of us or the perception of yourself? Like, which one is it that has changed to make the decision?
I guess because I was so ready to make a big change, not just I want to lose a bit of weight, but I want to make like a proper lifestyle change. I couldn't see anything else out there that was sort of offering the same sort of thing, or that gave as much information, because you have a lot of information out there that's available to see before you even become a member. So you've got the RNT radio, you've got, various articles and things out there you can read. So I liked all of that literature that I had access to, and I was able to look at that before making the commitment. Whereas other sort of fitness programs, there's not as much out there. It's just like, this is a 12-week fitness training thing and then you'll lose weight. But it was the bit that comes afterwards, because you had your 5 phases. And that's the bit that interested me, because it was the sort of continuation of it, not just losing the weight, because I knew I could get the weight down because I've managed it before. But it was the support as well, like having a coach. And so I was a bit reluctant before, because, I've had personal trainers in the past and been member of a gym. But although I was skinny at that point, I wasn't toned or didn't have sort of muscle. And I thought I was weightlifting, but actually I realise I'm weightlifting now. I was only doing light weights then. So there wasn't really room to sort of grow the muscle and things like that. So, it was just the whole package, really. And I just thought, this is the whole package. So this is what I want to go for.
Yeah, amazing. And you said you lost weight in the past before. What went wrong last time?
I guess sort of you lose the weight. I can usually keep it off for a year or two, but then slowly it just starts to creep back up. Just when you get a bit relaxed because the weight's come off, you think, oh, okay, I could go back to sort of eating a bit more. But then the weight starts to creep up again as well, because you haven't actually shifted your mindset. Whereas with RNT, you're learning about everything as you go, and you've got the coach that you're, being held accountable to. You've got all those check boxes to tick. So all of that just helps. When you're doing it on your own, you're not accountable to anybody. So it's easy to just think, I'll have a break for a few weeks and I'll get back on it. But when you're checking in weekly, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so it's the support element. And then you mentioned coming into RNT, you'd steadily been gaining weight over the years. So, for the last maybe 4 or 5 years, due to various different reasons, your uncle, COVID, and then your son. What was the reason you were gaining weight? Were you stress eating? Were you stressful emotional eating? Were you just not doing anything? Like, what were the reasons for that gain, and how much did you gain over those 5 years?
Yeah, I think I was always exercising, even when I'd gained the weight, because I enjoy working out. But it was more like the snacking. So, I think my general meals are quite healthy of what I was eating sort of day to day. But it was more in the evenings, during COVID, watching more Netflix, just sat relaxing on the sofa after dinner, after having my healthy meal, then go and get some popcorn or crisps or ice cream, just those extra snacks you have whilst watching something, because we just have it in our heads that we've got to, snack while we watch.
Yeah.
So I think that was the main thing for me. It was the extra stacking. But my general meals were actually not that different to what I'm having now. But it was more, now I'm adding more protein to it and just snacking less.
Your general meals were fine. The perception of general meals were fine, but then you had all the stuff around it. And was that conscious? Like, were you consciously adding stuff around, or do you feel like it was the associations you just mentioned there? Like, oh, I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, I must have something in my hand.
Yeah, it's more that.
That kind of
Yeah. It was kind of just doing it without really thinking. Like, oh, we're having a movie, let's go and get some popcorn, let's get some crisps, even though we've just had dinner. So it was that type of, it was just that mentality of, like when you get to cinema, you get popcorn or something. It's like when you're at home and you're on the sofa, just relaxing, just get something to eat. So, yeah, I think that was my main issue, really. And why this, as the weight sort of increased, because during COVID, you've just got more time, haven't you? Because everyone's at home, no one's doing as much. And there was more time just to watch more Netflix and just chill with food.
And Netflix and chill with food. Have you always had challenges with your weight?
Not to a great degree, no. I've always been like fairly slim. After I had my first son, I did gain some weight. I gained 2 stones after having him, and then I, through using my FitnessPal app to count calories and through just exercising, I managed to shift the 2 stones quite quickly, kept it off. And then I had my second son, and then the same thing happened. I sort of gained about 2 stones. And again, I went back on the FitnessPal app, counted calories, did my exercise, and got rid of the weight again. And then kept it off for a while. And then, as I said, the last 5 years, just those various few things that were causing a bit of stress, the weight came up. And then this time it was just harder to get it off. I don't know why. I mean, the motivation wasn't there as much. And as the weight had crept up, it was harder to get the higher weight down, whereas before it would be less weight. So, yeah.
Okay. So now let's get into July. You've made the decision to sign up. You start. What was cleaning the palate like for you? How was the initial parts of the process? Was it easy, hard? What were some of the challenges and wins you found earlier?
I quite liked that phase because it felt like a fresh start and a new beginning. So the weekend before I started, I'd been camping with friends, and I thought, right, this weekend I'm going to enjoy eating and drinking everything because from tomorrow it's a fresh start. And I did see it as a fresh start because I thought, right, this is like the first day of the rest of my life. So I started CTP, and I found it quite comfortable. I was finding some of the food slightly bland, but then I just added spices and things to it and realised that, those are 0 calorie. I can use those. So there's sauces you can add and things like that are low calorie. And then as I started to experiment a bit more with that, I actually found it perfectly fine to do. I was a bit worried thinking eating the same food for 2 weeks, that's going to be really boring because I quite like a variety of food. But actually, I meal prepped it all and found it really easy that I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's one of it's always that paradox that you think it's going to be hard and weird because you think you love the variety, and then you realize actually it's so easier.
You just don't have to think about
probably eating similar foods anyway.
Yeah, I was eating similar foods. It was the tricky bit was cutting out the snacks, and cutting out wine, biscuits, crisps. So I had to cut all of that out. And that was a tricky bit. But the actual food itself that I was eating was things that I probably would have eaten anyway.
And how'd you cut it out? Did you just throw out the house, or did you have to keep in for other people? Like,
I had to keep things in for the kids and the husband.
Yeah.
So when I started it.
Okay, so walk me through that, because that's a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
Like, how did you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, I explained to my children and my husband that this is like a big thing I'm doing now. I'm going to make a big change. And I need you all to support me. So don't start, waving your chocolates in my face or, don't encourage me to have anything. So if I'm not having it, just let me not have it. And amazingly, they were all really good. They were completely on board and really supportive. My youngest son had become my little accountability buddy. So he was always saying, oh, Mum, but you can't eat that. And that one's not for you. It's just for us. So they were pretty on board with that. So that made it easier. And because, like I said, a lot of the meals that we normally eat are quite healthy anyway. My husband was eating quite healthy anyway. So when they were sort of having snacks, I tried to just stay away, especially for those initial 2 weeks while I got my head into that whole CTP phase. And also, I think at the beginning, you're so motivated as well that you just kind of don't even want that stuff. So it's easier to do in the beginning, I think.
What did you tell your children and husband your why was?
I just want to lose some weight so that I can feel good about myself, so I can be healthy, and sort of explain to the kids that, because it's tough when you're talking to kids. You don't want them to sort of think too much about what they're eating and what they're doing. So you've got to be quite careful about it. So I just sort of explained I'm doing this, I called it a fitness program to the children. And I said, I said, how mum likes exercising and to be healthy, but recently I've had a bit too many treats. So now I'm just going to rein it in a little bit and swap like the chocolates for the fruits and things like that, trying to hint to them that maybe they might want to do some healthy swaps as well. So they were, completely supportive about it. And my husband knows that, over the years I've always sort of exercised, and so has he. We've always tried to be healthy and gone through phases where we'll be super healthy, like, do dry January and things like that. So we always go through these phases where we have done those sorts of things. So he was really supportive as well.
Okay. One thing you said that I thought was quite interesting, you said, this is the first day of the rest of my life. What was the mindset approach what was that mindset? Where did that come from, and how did you implement that? Because 15 minutes on, you can just definitely tell that I could just tell like when someone's not gonna stick it.
Yeah.
But you straight away renewed into year 2. You're not messing around.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like you can tell that this is you're really focused on crystallizing this behavior.
Yeah.
But right back then, saying that to yourself is a big thing.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
It was really just that. Like you'll do anything for your kids, right? So, because I knew that diagnosis was coming, that was massive for me. Because although I always thought that my son was autistic, when you see it on paper and it's in black and white, it makes it quite hard hitting. So you think, wow, this is real. I need to make sure that I'm the best version of myself for my kids so that I can support them, throughout life. So I knew that for me, I needed to make that change. And it was a change that I wanted to make because I did like exercising. I did like eating healthy. So I knew that it was really just about cutting out snacks and eating the right foods to sort of stay fuller for longer, increasing that protein and things like that. And I learned so much through R&T doing that. So I knew that once I've made that decision that I want to do something, I'm going to follow through with it. And so that's why that last weekend where I was camping with friends, I enjoyed like all the foods that I knew that I was going to cut out. And it wasn't like an all or nothing mindset. It was just that I'm going to enjoy those foods and not worry about anything. And then on Monday morning, I start CTP phase and I'm going to be with R&T and I'm going to shift this way and make that change. And I know that when I want those other foods, I can have them in moderation in the future. So I was just quite clear in my head. So I know that once I want to do something, I will follow through with it. Yeah.
And you didn't have that mindset when you were trying to lose weight in the past?
Not to that extent, no. I guess there wasn't a major force driving me before. It was just a case of I like to be fit and healthy. And, whereas this was more like, okay, I need a clear headspace to be there for my kids and provide the support that I know I'll need to provide over the years.
So you've cleaned the palate and things are starting off well. Walk me through the process in terms of challenges. What were some of the biggest obstacles that you had to face to reach your checkpoint? And before you go into that, tell the listeners how much weight you ended up losing on the route to your checkpoint.
I lost just under 24 kgs. Yeah, so more than I thought I had to lose.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What were the challenges on the way to losing those 24 kilos?
The challenges for me really were based on nutrition and the snacks. So I never found the exercise a challenge. So I've never missed a training session. I've never missed a cardio session or my steps. I really like routine. So I like checking in with my coach. I like ticking the boxes at the end of the day to say that I've done all the bits. The things that I thought were going to be challenging was the nutrition, the sleep, and the water, because I wasn't very good at drinking water before. I'd probably drink sort of 500 ml to a litre max in a day. So when I knew I had to drink 2 litres minimum in a day, and I thought, how am I going to do that? And It was a little bit challenging in the beginning, but my coach gave me a few tips. And one of the main things really was that I bought a 2 litre water bottle, and I filled it up in the morning and kept it with me on my desk while I was working. I took it everywhere with me. I walked around the whole house. I'd take the water bottle with me. So I knew I'm not going to forget to drink this. And I would just finish it. And over the sort of the first few months, I got so used to drinking the water that now I can't imagine not drinking 2 litres of water minimum in a day. So I think carrying that water bottle around with me really helped. Otherwise, I would forget to drink the water. So in the beginning, I thought I wasn't going to manage that, but I did. Sleeping, I've always slept sort of 5-6 hours a night and felt quite okay with that and thought that was normal. I thought sleeping any more than that felt like a waste of time because I had so many things to do. So I thought, I would go to sleep probably around 11-ish or something. So I did struggle a bit with sleeping more in the beginning. And again, my coach gave me some tips about, setting the alarm an hour or so before bed, before the time I want to sleep, to start winding down and preparing that I need to go to bed at that time. And then I started to slowly get 7 hours minimum sleep and realised that actually this is really good. It's very beneficial. So
you don't know what good's like until you feel it, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can't believe I was sleeping only 5 or 6 hours a night. I really can't. I mean, I would never go back to that again. I do minimum 7 hours.
I would be surprised if that's why you're struggling with the snacking before.
Yeah, possibly.
Because you're just craving energy. Yeah. And so you thought it was food rather than just need to go better.
Yeah, and looking back, I think I would sort of yawn in the day sometimes, whereas now I never yawn in the day. I'm always full of energy and, hydrated. I've slept well. I used to always wake up early to work out before as well. But now I think of it as I'm rested and now I wake up early to work out, whereas before I must have been quite tired and waking up early to work out. So I think I never really got the rest that I needed.
Yeah.
Which then obviously, as you said, could have been what was triggering snacking later as well. Whereas now I don't really think about snacking at any point. I kind of know what my set meals are and I'm going to have them. And
Cool. Why did you do a photo shoot? I know you did a home, in a garden, right? Was it a garden shoot? Yeah.
So I was in two minds about taking photos and having them online and all of that. And then I thought actually it would be a good record for myself anyway, because, I was quite keen to sort of get lean and see how good I can make my physique look. Because my uncle, who passed away, he was quite into sort of working out and sort of bodybuilding. And when I was young, he'd always have his sort of bodybuilding magazines lying around. So I always saw these people with their amazing physiques thinking, wow, that's so impressive, like how people do this. So I always sort of liked that look, but I never really thought it was something that I was going to sort of do myself in terms of getting lean and seeing some definition. But I thought it was quite a fun thing to do. And as I was going to be doing that, I thought it'd be nice to sort of see that on the photos, at least for myself. And I just couldn't believe it when I saw the photo of my back, because I didn't see my back at any point, because you don't really see your back, do you? So I was quite amazed when I saw the definition on there. That was the highlight, I think, out of all the photos.
How was the process of getting into photo shoot condition? So like the sort of final stretch towards checkpointing.
Yeah.
How did you find the sort of grind period?
Yeah, the grind was tough. I think for me, I was worried that I would be really hungry the whole time. But it wasn't really a case of, obviously I wanted more calories to eat, but I wasn't really focused so much on the hunger. It was more the low energy. I felt so low on energy during the grind. And that's what I found to be the toughest thing. So, I'd read your article about 50 reasons to grind. And that was really good. And there was lots of things on there that I thought, God, this is exactly how I'm feeling. And this is, so true. So I'm glad I experienced it and went through it. It was really interesting and eye-opening, and I really kind of learned to not sort of waste my energy on things that don't need my energy, because at that point you've literally got no energy at all. So you're just focusing on doing what you need to do to get through the day, and that was sort of work, kids, those sorts of things, and just not sort of prioritizing, texting messages back that aren't important or doing those sorts of things, and just delegating tasks a bit more to my husband and my mum.
You learn to be like, you've probably seen me write about it, but you become an essentialist.
Yeah.
You just, because you're on limited resources, you just realize, yeah, you probably could delegate this. You probably could stop doing this. You probably could change the way you do this. And I think that's like probably one of the first times in life you get to experience.
Yeah.
Because you kind of, before that, you just do things.
Definitely.
Rather than ever auditing what's going on. I think that's a real powerful benefit there.
Yeah, I really felt that actually. It was really noticeable.
When was that? When did you hit checkpoint?
17th of June.
June. Okay, so you're about three and a half months on now since checkpoint. Well, how have you found consolidation and probably now early investment as well?
Yeah, no, I think it's gone really well actually. I've enjoyed having my calories increase and being able to sort of get back onto eating more food and adding more fruit into my diet. And now it's just a case of working with my coach to find that sweet spot to see where I'm going to hold the calories and hold my weight.
And what are your when you filled out the lifestyle solution questionnaire or the investment questionnaire, what are you now looking to work towards as like your future reward phase? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to sort of build on muscle, get stronger, sort of increase cardiovascular health as well, be able to have a bit more freedom with my food, which I feel like I already have, especially after being in the grind when the calories are so low. I suddenly feel like, I could eat quite a lot now. So yeah, it's really just ingraining what I've learned so far and maintaining like a nice lean physique that I'm comfortable with, where my clothes fit comfortably. Then I'm able to just perform well and be full of energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of looking for that sweet spot, and the sweet spot where you look, feel, and perform your best, so to speak. Yeah, brilliant. And what do you foresee as being the biggest challenges for you to get there, turning it into an automatic lifestyle?
Yeah, I think it's just, a lot of it's the socializing aspect when you're out and about and trying to be in control at that point. Because at home, you've got a certain level of control. But when you're out, it's quite difficult because sometimes you don't really know what food's going to be there to eat. You kind of, sometimes there can be pressures, out and about. But generally speaking, I think I've coped quite well with that. I kind of know what I want to do and I kind of stick with it. But I think the most challenging bit really is the socials and being out and making sure you get the food that you want to have. But I've got into quite a good routine of taking food with me if I need to, just like, having a protein shake to hand or some fruit to snack on, which is quite handy to have. Because I think in the beginning, my coach would say, before you go out, have a protein shake or take a snack with you. And I'd think, well, that's just adding more calories. And now I realise actually that's really good because it does stop you then from overeating.
Have you found the snacking now that you're home? Because one thing I always say is when you have a checkpoint or a photo shoot and you've got effectively a prize in front of you, you can say no to habits because you're like, I'm doing that thing, right? And then the photo shoot happens and now you haven't got the prize in front of you, and now you're just left effectively to your own devices of your own habits and the old triggers creeping in. How have you managed to battle that? Because again, you've not lost only just that. You've not just done like 10 pounds, right? You've lost 24 kilos. So yeah, it's over 50 pounds, and you're still relatively new. So you've lost 24 kilos. Your body is now 24 kilos lighter, and yet your brain, behavior, and identity is almost, it needs to catch up.
Yeah,
right? It's still potentially, it might be 20 kilos heavier right now, and it needs time to kind of come down, so to speak, as well, because that takes a long time. What old ways have you seen? You're like, oh yeah, that's an old habit I need to make sure I don't go back to. Or this is an old trigger. And normally, because you're in like tunnel vision mode, it's like, yeah, it's not even an option. But now it's like, oh, that is an option now. What am I going to do with it? Like, what are those sorts of examples?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is movie night with the kids, and we're back on the sofa and we're watching a movie. And then they want to bring the snacks out. And I'm thinking, I need to be careful here because this is where I could end up going back to old habits and, having the snacks. So I just, I kind of plan my day. I know that say that we're having movie night on a Friday with the kids, I know I kind of plan what my meal's going to be that day. And I might put some popcorn into my meal for that evening and have it as a snack at that point. And that'll be sometimes I might do that. And sometimes I might just not snack at all and just think, right, I'll just have a peppermint tea or something. And I just think of it as I need to focus on the fact that I'm having nice family time, watching a movie, focus on the story of the movie and not worry about eating food. So it's just trying to be mindful. So, those habits can creep back quite easily if you're not mindful. And I also know that I'm checking in with my coach as well. So I'd have to let my coach know that I've gone back to my old ways this weekend. So that's the accountability really helps while you're trying to ingrain those habits. Because the minute that goes, then that's where you could kind of fall back.
Yeah, the accountability is what drives the behavior and identity change.
Definitely.
Because without that, then it just becomes a death by a thousand cuts. Movie night goes back to the way it was.
Yeah, and I can see how that so easily happens when you don't have someone to be accountable to.
Yeah. How did it feel when you saw the pictures in the camera and you just saw the comparison of like where you were to where you are now?
Yeah.
I was saying at the start of this call here, like we've chatted on text a few times, but I've not seen you on a video since the first time I saw you, which is 25 kilos.
Yeah.
How does that feel now when you look at yourself? Like, you do a lot of virtual work as well. You look at yourself in a Zoom call.
I can't believe it. I mean, it's such a big change. I mean, I didn't realize even that I had that much weight to lose until I actually lost it. And on a day-to-day basis, you don't always notice so much. But when you sort of see a call, from, I don't know, 10 months ago and then now, we just think, wow, huge difference. And I do wonder, how did I do that? But then if you keep chipping away at it every day and tick those boxes and keep going through the process, listening to the coach's advice, eventually, before you know it, the years passed and you're 24 kgs lighter.
What have you noticed you can do now, 24 kilos lighter, that you just weren't doing?
I don't have any aches or pains at all. I mean, I think before I might cycle and then I might have a bit of knee pain or something. I don't have that at all. I feel so much lighter on my bike when I'm cycling, and so I feel like I can move the bike more.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I just don't have any aches or pains at all. Just feel light and healthy and fit. My mind feels sharp.
Amazing. Yeah. How's the physical been the vehicle for you then?
Yeah, so I think through being physically fit in terms of ticking all the boxes of the nutrition, the exercise, the hydration, the sleep, as a result of that, I'm now able to just focus on everything. As I said, my mind feels sharper. I feel like I can take on anything now.
Amazing. What have your kids and husband said to you about your transformation?
They're amazed. When they see the before photos, they say, don't remember you looking like that. They're like, I really can't remember you looking like that at all. But it's because they see me every day. So the change is slow when you see someone every day. But I mean, even I don't feel I can recognize myself in those early photos. But the kids were quite amazed. Wow, you've done really well, Mum. And my husband's really impressed too.
And how does that make you feel when your kids?
Yeah, really good. I'm glad that I followed through with it all the way through, because there's always that little doubt in your mind at the beginning where you think, am I going to manage to do this? But as I said, I treated it as the first day of the rest of my life. Tunnel vision, went straight for it and didn't look back.
Yeah, and you were straight on to lock it in your second year as well. What was the decision behind that? And what do you think of your next year?
Yeah.
You mentioned like your reward phase, but what was your thinking behind? Because that reward phase could happen with or without year two, if that makes sense, right? Why did you decide to continue with year two?
I really enjoyed the whole process. Like I said, I quite like routine, the check boxes, the checking in with the coach. So I enjoyed that element of it. So I wasn't ready to let go of that. So I wanted to carry on for another year. And I also just wanted to make sure I made it a permanent lifestyle change and not just for the short term, because that was one of the reasons for joining RMT, was to make it more of a long-term change. And I've really enjoyed all the changes. I've enjoyed sort of the tweaks in the diet with it bringing up protein, levels higher, and just weightlifting with a bit more focus rather than sort of the lighter weights that I was doing before, and just having that input from the coach, just really enjoying that aspect of it. Because I mean, I wouldn't really go to the gym. I just don't find time for that. So I like to work out at home. So having like an online coach just works perfectly for me.
Yeah, brilliant. And what almost kept you from joining then?
I mean, to be honest, the cost, I thought, wow, this is a lot. I mean, is it really worth me doing this? Because I could just go to the gym, I could have a membership, but then I knew that I didn't actually have the time to be going out to the gym. So, I mean, I thought this is quite expensive. I don't know whether I'm going to really stick to it, and am I going to waste my money? But then I just decided, well, if I don't try it, I won't know. So I went for it. And then I just realized you get what you pay for. And with RNT, it is like the whole package. It's not just a diet plan or an exercise plan. It's all the curriculum. It's all the support from the coaches. There's just so many elements of it. And it's the 5 phases as well. It's not just lose weight and that's it. So, and that's why I wanted to continue and complete all those phases as well.
Amazing. And what would you say to someone who is early on in their journey right now? Someone
who's already started.
They're in their first week or two. They've got that big mountains, because 25 kilos is not that can't even happen in 12 weeks, no. 6 months, right? It's that's a journey in itself.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you're speaking to someone who has got, say, 20, 25, 30 kilos to lose. How do you keep yourself motivated to stay on it and not give up at 12, not give up at 13? Because if you started in July, you hit checkpoint in May, 10 months, it's pretty much and that is pretty good clip as well. Like, you weren't messing around.
Yeah.
Like, that's 24 kilos in just under 40 weeks. Like, that's a good rate especially for a woman as well. It's a great rate of fat loss. You don't want to be going any quicker than that. And you probably couldn't go much. You can definitely go slower, but it's the optimal rate basically. So how did you keep yourself on track that whole time?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe speak to that person who's now 20, who's got 25 to go.
I would say just focus on the end result you want, and then think about the end result you want, and then focus on day to day, just ticking those boxes. Even if you have one day where you didn't manage to do it, just move on from it. Don't stress about it. Move on, carry on next day. Just keep ticking all the check boxes and stick with it. And before you know it, your year would have passed so quickly, and you'd have lost a lot of weight in that time, and you'd have learned so much. And the other thing that I found really beneficial is listening to the RNT podcasts whilst walking or whilst working out, because that keeps you motivated. If you just keep your head in that space and focusing on that topic of, the fitness and doing it through all the curriculum that you have there, it just keeps you more motivated to carry on. So, and the coaching calls, listen to the coaching calls. I haven't been on many coaching calls myself, but I do always listen to them, the recording. And listening to that recording always motivates me, whether it's hearing the coaches speak or other RNTers. And I never miss one. I always listen to it later in the week while working out. So my mind's always on there.
Yeah, brilliant. You just got to indoctrinate yourself, I think, into the process. And then you just normalize it. It becomes normal. Because otherwise you can feel you feel like, am I doing the right thing? Is anyone else I know doing it? Whereas this is just like, God, this is all I know. Like, this is just, I'm just part of the ecosystem.
And the weird thing is, every time I have a question in mind, it seems to be answered on one of the coaching calls, or the coach will talk about it. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I've been thinking about this week. And it happens every time.
Yeah.
So, no.
It's one of those things where, like, whilst everyone's got a unique journey, the challenges we face are pretty similar.
Yeah.
And that can make the journey a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Any final words for the listeners?
Oh, anyone that's thinking of joining up, I'd say just join. Don't even think about it. It will be the best thing you do for your own self-care. Yeah, I can't imagine not being a part of RNT now.
Brilliant.